They served Hitler, helped with his worst campaigns. But after Nazi Germany fell, these men were back. Not to conquer, but to defend. How Hitler's generals rebuilt West Germany's military and formed NATO's new defense. In July 1944, General Hans Speidel made a choice. It put him in the middle of a major plot against Hitler. He was key in trying to assassinate the Führer. Speidel risked it all to end Nazi rule. As Rommel's chief of staff on the Western Front, he had the access and knowledge needed. Rommel's role is still debated, but Speidel worked behind the scenes, coordinating defenses, all while backing plans to remove Hitler. The assassination attempt failed. Retaliation was brutal. The Gestapo arrested Speidel. He landed in their Berlin HQ. He denied everything, left little proof. He avoided conviction. Thousands weren't so lucky. Speidel stayed imprisoned until the war's end. After the war, Speidel's record stood out. He had resisted Hitler, unlike many. This made him acceptable when rebuilding a democratic army. In 1950, Adenauer made him a military advisor. When the new army launched in 1955, Speidel was a top general. His World War I and World War II experience gave the West crucial insight. 2 years later, he led Allied land forces in Central Europe, commanding troops from multiple NATO countries. From Gestapo prisoner to NATO commander, Speidel's story showed West Germany's shift. He was more than just a German general. He was a Cold War strategist for a new alliance. But not all generals found redemption through resistance. Some were closer to Hitler and still rose again. On July 20, 1944, Lieutenant General Adolf Heusinger was near Hitler. He was briefing on the Eastern Front. Then a bomb exploded under the table. Heusinger was hit, died. Hitler survived. So did Heusinger. Heusinger was head of army operations. He was at the center of the Nazi war machine. From invading France to Operation Barbarossa, he planned major military campaigns. After the failed plot, arrests followed. Heusinger, though injured, was interrogated, but they found no strong evidence against him. He escaped, like so many others, by a hair's breadth. That uncertain past shaped his post-war career. As West Germany rebuilt its military, his experience was vital. In 1957, Heusinger became West Germany's top general. The Soviets protested, accusing him of war crimes. But the West saw institutional memory, skill, and reliability. By 1961, he was chairman of the NATO Military Committee, the first German. The message was clear. The man who planned Nazi campaigns now led the defense of Western Europe. Working with nations Germany had fought. For some, it was practical. For others, unsettling. But it fit the era's reality. In the nuclear age, experience mattered. Redemption was flexible. On September 5, 1944, General Friedrich Furch earned the Knight's Cross. As Chief of Staff of the 18th Army, he oversaw operations on the Leningrad Front, a brutal front marked by attrition and immense civilian suffering. The siege of Leningrad lasted 900 days. Over 1 million lives lost. Furch helped coordinate defenses during Soviet counterattacks. He was at the heart of a collapsing Eastern Front. In early 1944, Soviet forces broke the German lines. Furch's units were pushed west. They were trapped in the Courland Pocket, Latvia. Over 200,000 German troops surrounded. Furch was captured by the Red Army there. His war ended. 5 years later, he sat in a Soviet prison. Convicted of war crimes, sentenced to 25 years. Charges focused on destroying civilian sites. during the Wehrmacht's retreat. Unlike others who faced execution or labor camps, Furch's sentence was short. In 1955, after only 5 years, he was released. The timing was no accident. That same year, West Germany rearmed, creating the Bundeswehr as part of NATO. As Cold War tensions grew, experience trumped past judgment. Furch, who knew Soviet tactics, was too valuable to ignore. In 1961, Furch became West Germany's top general. The promotion caused immediate backlash. Critics questioned how a war crimes convict could lead a democratic army. But in Cold War Germany, necessity often overruled discomfort, and Furch's experience was highly valued. His term began under intense pressure. That same year, the Berlin Wall went up, turning Cold War tension into a daily standoff. But the next year brought a major crisis, the Spiegel affair. Der Spiegel published a leaked article about NATO war games. The article revealed West Germany's military couldn't stop a Soviet attack. It exposed serious flaws in the army's readiness, including logistics, communication, and organization. The fallout was huge. The defense minister resigned, but Furch remained. He retired in 1963. In the war's final months, Heinz Trettner helped coordinate Germany's last stand in Italy. Collapse was inevitable, but Trettner's career wasn't over. Trettner joined the Luftwaffe early on. Not an ideologue, he gained combat experience in the Spanish Civil War, then commanded paratroopers in Poland and France. He led some of Nazi Germany's first airborne assaults. His most famous moment was in 1941, Operation Mercury, the airborne invasion of Crete. Crete, the first ever all-airborne combat op. Mission success, but at a huge cost in German lives. Trettner's leadership here made him a top German airborne commander. Post-war, Allied forces held Trettner, then released him. No charges. In '56, Trettner joined the new Bundeswehr, bringing decades of air defense experience. By '64, he was Inspector General of the Bundeswehr, West Germany's top military job. But the Soviets weren't happy about Trettner's promotion. East Germany blasted the decision. Top communists accused Trettner of bombing Guernica in the Spanish Civil War. The next year, Ignacio Hidalgo de Cisneros, former Spanish Republican Air Force chief, slammed Trettner's appointment, called it a dangerous comeback for fascist-era figures. But it wasn't just foreign critics causing trouble. Even within West Germany's defense ministry, Trettner clashed with Deputy Defense Minister Karl Gumbel. Things got tense. Gumbel issued orders while the minister was away. Trettner thought this overstepped military bounds. Then came the breaking point. The ministry said soldiers could join unions, despite a court ruling. Trettner saw this as a direct threat to discipline and cohesion. In '66, after just 2 years, Trettner resigned. In '42, Rödiger's leadership was tested. He commanded panzer forces in Germany's failed Stalingrad offensive. Rödiger saw firsthand how German tanks struggled in harsh conditions. These lessons shaped his post-war military doctrine. On January 30th, 1945, Rödiger became general of the panzer troops. Near the war's end, he and Gen von Feidinghoff coordinated Germany's Italy surrender. But German command was in turmoil. Feidinghoff was arrested April 29th. The very next day, Rödiger was detained too, right as he met new Commander General Schultz. Schultz immediately claimed command of Army Group C. He sidelined both Rödiger and Feidinghoff. After Germany surrendered May 2, 1945, Rödiger was captured. He stayed a POW until 1948. As a panzer general, Rottiger helped perfect blitzkrieg tactics for early German wins. His coordination of tanks, infantry, and air support fueled initial Wehrmacht success. This armor expertise proved vital later, when defending against those same tactics. After the war, Rottiger's knowledge was key. Western powers eyed the Soviet Union's huge tank advantage in Europe. NATO needed officers who knew Soviet capabilities. In October 1950, Rottiger shared his insights at the secret Himmerod Conference. Ex-Wehrmacht officers offered rearmament ideas for West Germany. Their proposals formed the Bundeswehr's blueprint. A military under civilian control, part of European defense. When the Bundeswehr formed in 1955, Rottiger was its first army inspector. He built a NATO-ready force, distancing it from Wehrmacht ways. His focus? Defense, not offense. Though cancer took Rottiger in 1960, his impact lasted via the Bundeswehr's structure, defense focus, and NATO ties. As Allies prepped for the 1944 invasion, Vice Admiral Ruger worked with Rommel. They fortified German defenses along the Atlantic Wall. Ruger's ideas guided placement of obstacles, mines, and barriers against landings. His defensive naval warfare skills were decades in the making. But it wasn't enough against the massive D-Day operation. Ruger excelled in mine warfare and coastal defense. He earned the Knight's Cross for it. His technical grasp of naval barriers and minefields remained valuable. At war's end, Ruger was captured. After release in 1946, he became a translator, writer, and educator. When Chancellor Adenauer planned rearmament in the early 1950s, Ruger's mix of experience and intellect made him an ideal advisor. He helped shape the new German Navy's concept. With the Bundeswehr's 1955 start, Ruger became Navy inspector. Basically, West Germany's top naval officer. Under him, the German Navy grew from coastal defense to a key NATO player. Focused on Baltic Sea control, this shift mirrored changing naval priorities. Hitler's navy chased surface raiders and battleships. The Cold War Bundesmarine, led by Ruger, prioritized anti-submarine warfare and protecting trade routes from Soviet threats. Night after night, Allied bombers rained fire on German cities. Civilians fled as firestorms lit the skies. General Kammhuber responded. He created a new air defense system to counter the raids. The Kammhuber line stretched across occupied Europe. It turned the night sky into a tactical grid. Radar, searchlights, and AA guns. All coordinated with night fighters for precise bomber interception. Kammhuber's experience in defensive air ops earned him the Knight's Cross. He was a top Luftwaffe night fighting expert. He merged radar with tactical aircraft, a rare skill. He analyzed bombing patterns, developed counters, becoming Germany's air defense strategist. His mastery of radar, electronic warfare, and air defense coordination was crucial. As the Cold War began, the threat of Soviet bombers, possibly with nukes, created urgent air defense needs in Europe. Kammhuber had exactly that expertise. Freed from American captivity in 1948 without charges, Kammhuber spent years studying air warfare and writing about defense. In 1956, he became the first German Air Force inspector. Kammhuber guided the Air Force's first jet fighters and NATO procedures. He transformed the defeated Luftwaffe into a modern force, bolstering Western Europe's defense. That's all. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this video helpful. He got Germany's Air Force its first jets. He built a modern Air Force from scratch. helped defend Western Europe. That's all for today. Hope you learned something.